Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tales of the Valiant CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Gnoll, the CR 1/2 medium humanoid. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the business here, and the business is this tool. If you'd like what I'm doing here and you'd like to get the tool for yourself, you can do so by grabbing a copy of this tool completely for free or donating if you feel so inclined to at my Ko-fi page, link in the description below. There's also a bunch of custom classes, subclasses, and monsters. You can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or backing me on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month, or otherwise you can also like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. Everything is greatly appreciated. And now with that business out of the way, let's take a look at the Gnoll here, the CR 1/2 monster. Now to get the CR 1/2, we're going to leave this as a 0 because from D&D versions, doing whole numbers versus half and fractions was a much easier way to work with my my tool here. After that, we are expecting the monster to have all of these values here in the green line. Otherwise, stuff gets a little bit, like the hit points get adjusted based off of what's actually going on here. So we're going to start by throwing in the stats of a 2, 1, 0, -2 for intelligence, a 0, and a -2 for charisma. Now, because of how Tales of the Valiant works with their modifiers, if you ever see that something isn't right with, for instance, the plus to hit, then that's likely what you're actually seeing is the proficiency save rather than the actual modifier. So to save on space and redundant information, they just add that all into one spot. So we are seeing that our Gnoll has a base of an 11 AC at the moment because of its +1 dex. So we need to add in +4 for the hide armor and shield. So we have to keep that in mind when we come to the shield area here and dealing with any kind of damage for potential two hands. So we add that in for a 4. We're expecting to have an AC of 11 to 13. So at the moment, our Gnoll is actually a little overboard with AC based off of the numbers that they are expecting. And if we lose the shield, then we are more in line with the hit points, but we'll see the adjustments in a little bit here. From there, what are we doing next? From there, we're looking at the speed. The speed is 30, which is fine. We don't have to make any adjustments there, which again, speed is actually very important. So if we have a monster like last week's episode with the zombie, if the speed is lower than 30, and it's the only type of speed that it has, then we have to make sure to add that in so we get adjustments. After that, we have the rest of the stuff that's not important, so we're just going to jump right down into the traits area, which we only have heightened smell here. The Gnoll's perception is 15 when perceiving by smell. That's perfectly fine. We don't have to worry about that. It's only important for encounters and your game. Next, we have actions. We have a bite and we have a spear. They are both using +4 to hit, which means we are likely coming from strength. +2 strength modifier plus the proficiency bonus here will give us the +4, which is perfectly good. If your modifiers are ever off creating custom monsters, Tales of the Valiant just suggests that you push them into the expected attack bonus or DC area. They don't have a way to adjust hit point modifications. So that is like the official wording. Just push into the expected range. Don't let it go above or below because there's no way to adjust for that. Beyond that, we are looking at our bite of being 1d6, so we'll go ahead and throw that in, plus the strength, giving us a 5.5, and the 0.5 is coming from an odd number of dice, so that will be our first attack right there. Then we have our spear, which technically we are only going to be using one-handed because we have a shield. Otherwise, we would have to make adjustments, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. So our spear is going to be 1d6 as well. And actually, you know what? Since it's exactly the same as the bite, I'm just going to go ahead and make this one the two-handed attack, just so we have that for later use. So we'll add that two-handed spear attack in there. And then let's take a look here. We can only do one or each of a bite or a spear attack, which is perfectly fine. We will then look at the bonus action here of Taunting Bark. The Gnoll lets out a high-pitched laugh and taunts one creature can see within 30 feet. The target makes a charisma save. A failure, the creature takes psychic damage and must spend its turn moving up to its speed towards the Gnoll and makes one attack against the Gnoll. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's different. In any event, We do have modifiers here, although it's not applying. Okay, let me just do this real quick while I'm thinking about it. So we have the 1d4 here. The attack for the bonus action is forcing taunting rules, which is interesting. I like that. And the creature has to make one attack. So we're not going to apply any kind of a modifier here for attack conditions because it's not doing anything like poison, blinding, deafened. It's not doing any of those. It's just forcing the attack to come in, which, you know, you may or may not want to do. I don't know. That's up to you. After that, we have our reactions. Rampage. When the Gnoll reduces a creature to 0 hit points, it can move up to half its speed and make one bite attack. If it does, the attack roll against it has advantage until the start of the next turn. I don't think we have anything in here for Rampage-like things. Let me review this and I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, the second's over, and taking a look at the clickable bonus, options here. There's really nothing for Rampage, and the likelihood that your monster may drop a hero or a player to 0 hit points, depending on how you're playing, may or may not happen. It also depends on if the players are pushing themselves. So this one's kind of hard to justify. This might be a 1 out of 3 rounds of combat kind of thing. So we're going to ignore reactions for now of the Rampage, and we'll come back to that if the numbers are a little off. And by that, I mean if our hit points don't reach 22 up here. So let's go ahead and start working in our attacks, and we will see where we are at. So at the moment, we're going to go ahead and just say we're going to do either a spear or a bite, and then we'll also do the bonus action. So we're looking at a minimum of 8, and then that's for every round of combat. Let's see here. So that should be everything. We are losing 10% hit points because we have our AC 2 points higher because of the shield. So let's see what happens here. With that, we have a 25 expected hit points. Adjusted, we have a 22. Perfect. This is exactly what we're expecting, and this is pretty much what Tales of the Valiant is also expecting, that the Rampage isn't likely going to happen unless you have some really weird fringe cases of, players pushing themselves too hard, lots of traps before, things that have really reduced the group of adventurers down to virtually nothing, or an imbalance, maybe too many monsters are on the field. So more than likely, this reaction isn't going to happen all too often. I might say, there's a 20% chance that maybe you'll be able to use this reaction. Now, let's take a step back real quick and look at if we are using this without a shield, just for the fun of it. So we'll go ahead and reduce this to 2 AC bonus, bring us to 13, and then we are going to use the 24 instead for 6.5 and 2.5, which brings us up to only 9, which is only one more hit point, or one more point of damage, and we do lose 2 AC, which means our adjustment now brings us to 25 hit points and only one more point of damage. So honestly, I don't think the 3 extra hit points are worth the loss of 2 AC. So I would play this Gnoll with the shield and the spear, and if by chance the shield gets disarmed, okay, then go all out with a bite or the spear attack at 2 hands, but don't purposefully go for a 2-handed spear attack because you are losing out on 2 AC, which is pretty big in this game. All right, there we go. This monster, the CR 1/2 Gnoll, is 100% accurate, and I would play this without any worries. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.